I remember I was trolled when I said SIP book will become from $1 billion to $3 billion. We are at 26,000 crore SIP book. And I'm telling you, we'll have 50 crore demat accounts in a matter of time. We have 22 crore people playing Dream 11 now. So the nature of warfare has changed. It's more modern, it's more technical, so it's more drones, it's more surveillance, it's high tech.
One sector that's failing really badly in innovation is tech.
I agree with you. There will be some winners, there will be some losers in IT services, which are doing more software, more IP driven work. I think will survive.
So tell us a little more about your investment, philosophy.
My Dadaji used to say, in Punjabi he used to say, कि जिथे मेहनत है उथे रहमत है. Right? So if you don't work hard, you will not get his blessings. And I'm a firm believer in that. On stocks, you have to work hard. You can't buy and forget. Daily clients are very funny, huh? And he told me, he said, Gurmeet, आराम से पैसा बनाएगा तो 15 साल लगेंगे. जल्दी में तो 25 साल लगेंगे. I go to Omaha every year just to listen to the old man. 50,000 people coming to listen to a guy who's 93-year-old and saying long-term investment.
So what do you think will be the big theme over the next 5 to 10 years? Hey guys, I'm happy to be a part of Zerodha's media network. Together, Zerodha and I plan to bring to you simple yet effective and impactful news and views from the best minds in the financial world. Hey guys, welcome to The Money Mindset. Today on the show, I have someone with me who I've known for like over 10 years maybe, and someone who is an ace stock picker who's always called the market trends right. Gurmeet Chadha of Complete Circle is here with us. Gurmeet, thank you so much for being on The Money Mindset.
Thank you for having me, Sonia, and I admire the call you have taken. Being an entrepreneur now, and so, I had to be here. I was just waiting for you to call.
I was waiting to have you on the show because I remember we've been discussing stocks since maybe well beyond before 2020.
Yes.
And, we used to have that show Smart Money in my earlier channel. And since then, your stock picking has been bang on. So today I have so much to learn from you. And yes, thank you for your, wishes because you've had the similar journey, right?
Yes.
You were with Citibank and then you kind of moved to entrepreneurship. Right. How was that for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great experience. Initially, it's always unnerving to leave a well-paying job. You left CNBC after being there for so long. But then I think it's your calling, right? Everybody should pursue their calling. And I told you earlier that, love and entrepreneurship happens to you.
Yeah.
So it has happened and now I'm really enjoying this part of the career. So
a lot of people know you from your Complete Circle journey, but not too many people know that you are from a very small town.
Yes.
You have no finance background. Absolutely. You are not a CA, CFA, nothing. So how did you stumble upon the stock markets?
See, so I come from a small place called Sagar in Madhya Pradesh. And my father was a general merchant. We were distributors for Dabur, Colgate, Pidilite. And, I always loved managing money because when you're from a business background, but one mistake we did as a family was we never took care of our cash flows. So those days you were doing more cash sales, right? So we had a couple of off seasons because we used to do a lot of seasonal stuff, etc. So there was drought and MP is a very agrarian economy. So 2-3 साल खराब गए बहुत, and we had to suffer huge losses. And that's when I realized that, putting cash to work, so, creating asset out of income is important. And then there's sometimes you have a natural flair for it. And being from a small town, I always used to envy a lot of my friends who were in Delhi, who used to, speak well English. I was doing MP board till about 8th standard. CBSE actually came in 9th standard when I was there. So I always wanted to catch up with some of my friends, cousins who were in metros, and that attracted me towards pursuing education outside Sagar. And that's when I did my MBA and you're right, I'm MBA in marketing. So one myth is
finance background.
No finance background. So there's a myth that you need to be a finance guy, you need to know balance sheets very well, you need to do formulas very well. I think it is all commonsensical.
Wow. So from Sagar, a small town in MP, to Delhi.
Yes.
When did that journey happen? When did you go to Delhi?
So 2002 was a bad year, dot-com bubble. So campus was a washout. So on day 0, ACC Cement came to campus. I wanted to join a bank or an investment because I wanted to get into banking and stock market. But I took the offer because there was none. So ACC thought that since I am a Punjabi, they should give me Delhi and Punjab.
Acha.
So they didn't realize that I'm from Sagar. So I got my first posting Delhi, and then I was posted to Chandigarh.
Okay.
But after a year or so, the markets recovered, and then I joined HDFC Bank. From there, my financial market journey started.
Okay.
Because in 2004, we used to get ESOPs in those days. HDFC actually used to give employee stock options even at assistant manager grade, at the entry grade.
Wow.
Right? So they used to give you 1,000, 2,000 shares depending upon your grade, performance grade.
Not bad.
Yeah, that days. And
it doesn't happen anymore though.
now they give, but they are at a certain grade,
At
like
a
VP
senior
and
level,
VP and above. And so there are personal banker tellers who are still with HDFC, who have retired with 20, 30, 40 crores of HDFC Bank shares.
Wow.
So that was my first, you can call it encounter.
That was your first job?
First job was ACC Cement through
ACC,
campus. HDFC is
HDFC.
where first encounter with stock market options.
Stock markets. And in what year did you start your own investment journey?
When I realized I made a mistake quitting HDFC Bank, so somebody offered me a 30% hike, and shares are supposed to be vested in 3 years. ESOPs have to be vested in 3 years. But I thought, I was earning 25,000 a month. Somebody offered me 35,000, and I was young, hardly 24, 25 at that point of time. I took the offer, I let go of the shares. And in a couple of years, people who stayed back told me that, they have made X lakhs just by the...
Okay.
So I realized, what did I leave? And from 2006, I started buying. So I wanted to cover up whatever shares, FOMO. So I started buying 10 shares of HDFC Bank every month. So that was my first, you can call it investment. And then I started some SIPs also, just to catch up with that. But to tell you, I still haven't caught up. Had I just continued getting those ESOPs, probably would have made more money.
No, but you started in 2010 buying 10 HDFC shares every month.
Yeah.
So you do that till today?
Still today, yeah.
It must be like worth a fortune right now.
No, it's pretty good. So I've done some backward calculations, Sonia. So I said I need to have, for example, 10,000 HDFC Bank shares. I need to have 5,000 Reliance. I need to have 10,000 ITC. So I made some quantity goals that this is what I want to have. Then I said, okay, this much units I want to have for mutual fund. And then I did a reverse calculation. How do I need to do? So initially your salary is less. So you start with a small amount, and you keep, stepping up. And first few years you realize, yeah, it's not doing much, it's not adding up. Kuch ho hi nahi raha hai. First 3-4 years, because the amount invested is so small. But once you cross that, I think 15-20 lakh on your portfolio value, that's when the reality sets in. That's when you see movements happening in lakhs, right? So I always say, it's not the first crore. It's the first 10-20 lakhs actually which gets you a hook. So that's why the first 3-4 years are very important.
But then, how is this? So you've always told me, right, or taught me rather, that, you should buy 5-10 shares every month of a big company, of a large cap company, like do an SIP in stocks.
Yeah.
But how is that different from buying, say, an index fund? It's pretty much the same thing, right?
No, it's not one against the other. A lot of people, in social media also have made this competition about, I still do SIPs. So I have my first Reliance Growth Fund, which I started in 2006-07. I stopped it in 2008. I made that mistake when the market crashed. But I again restarted. So that 3,000 SIP is still continuing up, by the way.
3,000 rupees per month.
That I didn't stop because, it was my first SIP, right?
Okay.
That value is today 31 lakhs. So 3,000 a month, done 15 years back, is 31 lakhs. Why do I know? Because I just, had to buy a house, so I was taking note of where to pull out money from.
Okay.
So, the first mistake we do is we start doing this competition. I always say, if you can get that thing, Madhu Kela used to be the fund manager. If you can get a Naren or a Madhu Kela or a Parag Parekh or those guys at 1.5% fees in a mutual fund, and that too by giving 3, 4, 5,000 rupees a month, might as well take it. Right?
They're geniuses.
Yeah. And stock SIP is complementing your mutual fund SIPs or an index fund SIPs. I still do 50-50. So despite being an active portfolio manager myself, my 50% savings still goes towards SIPs in mutual funds and index funds.
Wow, that's interesting. So you said you do SIPs in individual stocks as well, and you buy mutual funds also.
Yep.
So if you had to build a portfolio, right, for people who are say starting now to do an SIP in say 5 or 6 stocks, how would you do it? What kind of profile would you look at?
Yeah. So, first thing you should do is that if you don't have the time, you don't have the flair, you can't devote. So, I say stock picking is becoming a promoter. You're buying a share of the company. You have to behave like what the promoter does, be involved, track the company and everything. If you can't do any of that, stick to mutual funds. A lot of people have done a great job. There are 10 mutual funds, Sonia, where the NAV is more than 1,000. So, there are 100 baggers. So, a lot of people think stocks are 100 baggers. There are 10 mutual funds where the NAVs have gone up more than 100x. Nippon Growth Fund, the NAV is 3,300. This is 330x in last 30 years, right? So stick to MF. If you don't, you don't understand much. Stock SIP you should start if you want to generate a little alpha over what the envelope. It may not come, and to have some passive income because shares also give you dividends, right? Over a period of time, there'll be bonus and buybacks. So it gives you some more cash flows than your normal mutual funds. So 5 things, very simple things. First, choose your circle of competence. I was a banker. I started with HDFC Bank, Bajaj Finance. My friends were there, and so I used to understand banks, how they work, what is net interest income, what is NPA, and all that. So the bulk of the portfolio is still financial. It will be probably 40-50%, Nifty is 33%. Second, build 3. Over a period of time, you learn, you make mistakes, right? So we developed this formula, okay, which I'll share with you. We call this miles. Miles, right? My partner is a marathon runner. I used to also.
Kshitij.
So that's Kshitij. So that's miles. So M is for margin expansion and sales growth. So for example, we picked up Uno Minda in our portfolio as a stock SIP.
And also ancillary
That's why I'm
company.
just giving an example. And I've been invested in 2016 since Uno Minda. And he was a client. So I used to manage his money during my Citibank days. So I saw.
NK Minda.
The Paridhi and Nirmal, the entire family we used to converse with. The PAT growth, if you see for Minda, it's about 23%. The sales growth is around 19%. So if your margin is expanding with revenue, every 100 rupees more in sales is more than 100 rupees in profit because the margins are growing. So first is M, miles, which is margin and sales, right? Second is innovation. I mean, what is the company doing? And innovation can be anything. It doesn't have to be technology alone. So Uno Minda, again, coming back to the same example, did so many tech tie-ups. They did not have all the technology. They did some 20-30 JVs. Started as a switch company. Now is making alloy wheels, infotainment systems,
Got into
airbags,
EVs for
EVs and whatnot. So second is innovation in your DNA. There's another company we kept talking, which was Solar Industries.
Yes.
This has been one of my 20-30 bagger. I don't have any 100 baggers. I mean, a lot of people boost that, but I have some 10-20 baggers.
No, listen, 20-30 baggers. I remember we discussed Solar Industries when it was, I think, 800 rupees.
Yes.
And today
COVID.
the stock is 13,000.
13,000.
And
New high today, actually.
And new highs every year, every month. It's making new highs. So, okay, so Solar Industries is another case in point where margin profile has gone up. And the second you said, innovation.
So they were making explosives. So they moved from product to platforms. Today they are making explosive systems. Pinaka multi-barrel rocket system, drones, UAVs. I mean, whenever you get time, I'm sure you will just go to Nagpur and just visit the site. I was fortunate to visit their site. I went with the SBI folks, and they were actually doing a live testing of a hand grenade they had made.
Wow.
And Mr. Nuwal, my father-in-law is from Nagpur.
Achha.
So he used to in 80s, 90s come on a scooter to take orders of explosives. So is that grounded? That was the owner, huh?
The owner of Solar?
Yeah, today it's a 1.3 lakh crore market cap company. And any customer complaint, he used to himself come on telephone and try and so.
But I remember you had very high conviction in Solar even before the entire market kind of discovered that stock. So how do you have conviction?
Yeah.
I mean, you've been telling me your methodology, but go ahead. For something like a Solar, how did you have the conviction?
So, so once you see, which is third aspect, which is learning, in miles, right? All the guys who have made wealth, I found them great learning machines. Look at Elon Musk. I mean, we say he's from a different planet. Look at Steve Jobs, unfortunately no longer with us. Shree Cement promoter, Mr. Bangar, used to give CAT exams with his son, just to keep his mind sharp. Right. So what I've seen, the best of the guys are great learning machines. So I met John T. Rhodes, last week, and he was saying, I used to tell everyone, just save one run in the match. Just save one run. Do one extra effort during your day. So I keep telling investors that, as an investor, as a promoter, if you're learning one extra thing, every time you're trying to do something, I think that reflects in the culture, eventually in the balance sheet also.
100%.
So L is, the learning, E is ethics. Extremely important, Sonia. In our country, unfortunately, this is one area which probably needs more attention by regulator. And good thing with India is who are good promoters and bad promoters. So India में
especially in this day and age of social media.
बिल्कुल मुश्किल नहीं है और नहीं भी था तब भी पता था. So for example, Murugappa Group, great promoter, right? HDFC Bank, very good promoter. Infosys, great promoter, right? Asian Paints. So you exactly know Tata Group, great promoter. You also know what is not so good promoter without taking names. I don't want to get into controversy. So don't, as a retail investor, I'm not here to give a chance that this guy's heart has turned around, right? Let's go with what has worked, in the past. So E stands for ethics. S is for scale. I think this is where you get a multi-bag. So can this 100 rupees profit become 1,000, 2,000, 3,000? What is the size of the opportunity? For example, let's say CDSL, it's a capital market play, right?
It's been one of your favorite stocks for years.
So, I'm a finance guy, so typically I told you, that's my area. So, do what works for you. So we were 2 crore demat accounts CDSL had for COVID. Today it is 15 crores. Right? And I'm telling you on your show, I remember I was told when I said SIP book will become from $1 billion to $3 billion. This is 2 years back and people said, 20 साल लग गए 8,000 करोड़ किसी बुक होने में. He's saying कि 25,000 करोड़ हो जाएगी. We are at 26,000 crore SIP book, right? And I'm telling you, we'll have 50 crore demat accounts in a matter of time. We have 22 crore people playing Dream 11 यहाँ. और 4 crore लोग sips करते हैं.
I know.
I mean, such a long.
But इतना discrepancy क्यों है? People rather gamble
that urge of making quick money, plus maybe the love for the cricket. you want to be involved every day. So I think this is a clear place. What is the size? The size is, your base became 5x in 4 years. CDSL is 11x since IPO. Right, so people keep talking of BSE and NSE, something like a depository. And depository, the best part, it makes money. Everything you do, I call it network effect. Once you make a network, then you create effect around it. So you do transaction, account maintenance charges, KYC, e-voting. You do anything, they will make money. And jokingly, I used to call it a toll naka stock. It takes toll from you. When you are in the financial market, doing in and out.
कुछ ना कुछ से कहीं से
size,
पैसे बनाता रहता
scale.
है.
When in solar, I saw defense as a huge opportunity. I thought these guys, the way they were innovating, making new products. I mean, today, for example, a Pinaka rocket is 450 crores. Now, if you do an export order, and chances are we'll get a lot of export orders. One missile and the system is worth 450, 500 crores.
But do you think the story has played out in solar?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
Because it's huge run already.
No, I mean, I look at 2030. I don't look at 25, 26. So I mean, obviously, it will have its ups and downs. It was 8,000 rupees 2 months back.
Yeah,
it's 13, right? Look at this way. We are doing a arms reset in this new Trump 2.0, right? Who would have thought Germany will do $500 billion of defense and infra spending? They've actually done this after World War II. So every country will look after themselves now. And every country would try to build capabilities. And see, all large countries may do it from US. Solar is getting orders from countries like Armenia, Philippines, Vietnam. You will not go to US for a 500 crore order, 1,000 crore order. So I think the opportunity to rearm with the new, people call it World War III, economic warfare 3, I think is huge. So
anything else in defense that you like?
See, I used to like HL, but I think there are a lot of it. See, the nature of warfare has changed. If you send a pilot today for the war, Abhinandan got trapped in the last war. Such hue and cry. Who would risk sending a 1,000 crore Rafale with your fighter pilot.
Correct.
You might as well fire missiles sitting at home surface. So the nature of warfare has changed. It's more modern, it's more technical, so it's more drones, it's more surveillance, it's high tech. And I think HAL to that extent it will be still steady because we need more aircrafts, and HAL makes 60% through maintenance. But I think the opportunity is in high tech in defense. Somebody who's really disrupting. So for example, we don't have an Iron Dome like Israel. Solar is developing one. It's called a micro missile system. Right? We have a 1400-kilometer border in north, which we need to cover properly. LAC itself is very difficult. They say you give as many soldiers to the mountain will take all of them. It's very difficult to guard a mountain. We have such good neighbors, right? So you need a surveillance. So if you want to build a surveillance, per kilometer cost is some 13-14 crores in terms of monitoring it. Now imagine if you have to just secure the border all three ways. We have Bangladesh, we have China, we have Pakistan. We unfortunately are blessed with not so good neighbors. So I just think the focus
Scope
would be
of
on
work is very large.
and security.
But then why did the stock fall so much? It went to 8,000 because of the market correction.
Yeah. So the stock went up from 600 to so it's high beta stocks will fall. Also, it's an expensive stock. It trades at 60-70 earning multiples. So wherever you make money, you pull out the most.
So at what point do you decide that okay, now it's falling, now I should exit? Or did you ride this entire rally and you stuck on till 13,000?
No, I have made mistakes. I have my fair share of mistakes where I did not exit at the right time. I think Deepak Nitrite was one. I didn't see the chemical cycle turning. I made a mistake with Sun Pharma. It was 1400 in 2014. It's still there almost. So I've had my fair share of mistakes.
But that way, if you see even something in HDFC Bank, I mean, 3 years it did nothing. It was in that 1400-1500 range, frustrating investors for the longest time. Abhi jaake it started to perform little
but with HDFC and Bajaj Finance, the EPS was still doubling every 3-4 years. With Sun Pharma, the margins came down to 6%. So that's why I said Miles starts with them. I think key here is margin and sales growth. If that is sustaining and the price is not moving, it's an opportunity.
Okay, so in Miles, you said innovation, right?
Yeah.
One sector that's failing really badly in innovation is tech.
Yeah.
Right? Infosys, you mentioned, great company, amazing management, all of that. But innovation is they're just not able to crack it. The entire sector, I guess.
I think somewhere we'll have to see. I think I agree with you. There will be some winners. There will be some losers in IT services. I still think that I don't write off the entire sector just because AI will come, jobs will disappear. I think efficiency goes up, and I think GCC is another opportunity which is coming. And there are some niche players in tech. Look at, for example, Persistent. In this environment, it's still growing 4-5% quarter on quarter with 20% kind of a profile. Look at a KPIT. Numbers came today morning, right? And despite the slowdown in auto, and it's largely an auto software company. I think I was looking at one of its software called Aldo 4 or 5, which is autonomous driving. That's 10 times better than what some of the leading players have made. So a lot of it is IP. So companies which are doing more software, more IP driven work, I think will survive. Companies who are just doing labor arbitrage in IT services will. So I think to me, HCL Tech, KPIT, Persistent, you should watch out. Never write off. One thing I've learned is that never write off. People said PSU banks will finish. Prashant Jain kept buying PSU banks in 2021. And today HDFC FlexiCap is the best performing fund because he was buying PSUs those time because you were getting them at 0.2, 0.3 price to book. So maybe IT stocks, if you get it.
But there's also an opportunity cost that he had to bear, right? For so many years, his fund was not performing.
See, that is why I said, it's like, Sonia, it's like a team, no? Every player will not score a 50 or a century. See, as long as the team does well, which is your portfolio, sometimes your MF will do well, sometimes the index will outperform, sometimes some stocks will take the cake. As long as overall you're in the right direction, in the winning direction, it's okay. And kuch underperformance acha hai. It also means you're fully diversified. I always tell people that if this underperformance means somebody is thinking differently, right? And if the guy has seen few cycles, give him that time, right?
So this very nice philosophy you shared with us, Miles. Margins, innovation,
L for learning, E for ethics,
and S for scale.
S for scale.
Okay, so can you identify some 4-5 companies which fit this entire framework?
So I think all 5, one, one thing which I got lucky was Tata Consumer, and very simple call. I'm a big coffee lover, so when Starbucks came to India, although Starbucks is still not profitable, so
And it's not doing well anymore.
it's not doing
Yeah,
well
yeah.
anymore. So I figured out. So I asked Kshitij and my team that where does this Tata Global Beverage Starbucks come? So there's a company called Tata Global Beverage. I think that time it was some 120, 130 rupees or something.
Okay. What is it today?
I think it's 1200, roughly about
Okay,
1200,
huh.
right? So
Wow.
FMCG basic company giving a 10x, right, in about 7-8 years. So we started drilling into what does it do. So tea, coffee is they make, right? So tea, coffee will grow at 5-10%. It's not a business where tea can give you 15% return, but they were gaining market share. They got into a product called Tata Sampann, right? So I was zapped when I looked at Tata Sampann. We consume, Sonia, 1.8 lakh crores of pulses in a year, which is dal, chana, rajma, urad, of which 85% is unorganized, right? So which means 1.5 lakh crores is unorganized out of 1.8 lakh crores. And Tata Consumer is 10% of organized. So there was a great opportunity in margin, in sales scaling up, ethics, no issues with Tata
Group.
Consumer. And then we had a leadership change. Sunil D'Souza joined, the guy who turned. I mean, he's considered as one of the finest leaders, FMCG, and he kept adding more products. He said everything we'll consume will get branded, breakfast cereals. So what has happened to a tea, coffee, will happen to everything, in your kitchen shelf. And then COVID happened. Then people started buying more and more branded and hygienic and so I think this was just a perfect, mild study.
Combination of
Simple, commonsensical business. Doesn't need any, tech and all. But they kept innovating, kept coming up with new products, new products on the kitchen shelf.
But what do you do when, like, in a Tata Consumer, something like a Starbucks is seeing intense competition now from local homegrown brands, right?
Yeah.
Coffee brands, and the future is not looking that bright for them. So, as a stock investor in Tata Consumer, do you sort of back off, or do you expect that some of the other divisions will do better?
So you actually answered it yourself. It's on the growth levers. So Starbucks today is about less in single digit in terms of EBIT contribution. It's a negative contribution right now. So it doesn't impact I think the growth, the stability comes from tea, where they are the market leader, and the growth comes from Sampann. And now they are also trying to get into out of home consumption, water. So you have the Himalaya water. And they have another, so the water is another segment. I'm very bullish on water. I think the next world war will be on water. We're already seeing.
Same. There's always water shortage in Bombay at least, and in our buildings all the
Ask
time.
Ask us
yeah.
in Delhi.
Everyone is facing. It's a huge opportunity.
Huge opportunity. So it just ticks all boxes. But let's say if there is a business which is contributing 20-30%, and that comes under pressure like Starbucks, then